clouds roll by, splash water in my eye. Trees will seize me, what you gonna do there?
Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. Kicking off this week with 4 LPs I'm going to share with you guys that I've acquired since then. I've shared all these on Instagram except for one. The last one, which I'll share, which was like totally unexpected. I've been putting down payments on it for the last few weeks and just can't believe I own this one, this nice original copy, but I'll probably share that at the end. But yeah, it's been an interesting week last week, both highs and lows, and I'll probably share more of the negative in this beginning portion here if you guys care at all. But it's just kind of on the more personal tip, something that is not music relevant or anything, but I'll just say it. I've had my fucking car stolen Friday morning. I'm laughing now, but geez, never would have thought it had happened to me, man. It's been kind of a whirlwind of emotions the last couple of days. I woke up Friday morning, 3:45 when I wake up, and it's just gone. And that's the first thing I see when I wake up, because I'm sleeping right next to the parking lot at my apartment complex, and it's just gone. So you can imagine how the day started, I got a police report on it, and I'm trying to today try to figure out ways I can track my vehicle next time and find different ways that I don't have my vehicle stolen next time. So in the meantime, I have a replacement, but it's just like I'm kind of worried about parking in my parking slot this time, because it sounds like I'm not the only one it's happened to in the last few weeks. And a couple weeks ago, I even had like fraudulent stuff happened to my card as well, my bank card. So it seems like I'm almost a target, but I think all of this is just kind of coincidental, all happening at once. Because like I mentioned a couple months ago, I had my plate stolen on my car as well. It's probably different people, but they're always after that. They're always after something, Maybe they're flipping my vehicle right now, but thankfully I didn't have any, huge valuables in the car, because I'm pretty smart about, not leaving any good possessions in the vehicle. I had a few blank checks, so I had to call my bank about that, and, some nice CDs I had in there whenever I pop a CD in the car for whatever reason, and of course some tools for my vehicle as well, but otherwise kept it pretty clean. So yeah, that's kind of like a huge weight. It just feels like a part of me's missing now, because it's my transportation, but you can't stop it, It's just what's done is done, and it sounds like 50% of the time, vehicles get reported, and sometimes they turn up. So hopefully, keep your fingers crossed that my vehicle, is undamaged, unharmed, and they didn't rip the thing apart. So, if you can, just think about me while I'm going through this time, if you would like. I'd appreciate it. Like I said, I have a replacement vehicle, but pretty soon I feel like I'm going to probably have to pony up for a new vehicle down the road. So it's just, it's not like I live in a super bad neighborhood. It's very littered with vehicles, so the fact they chose mine is kind of like one out of a million. But yeah, just totally, I'm still trying to let it sink in and register with me, because I come from the small town mentality where everybody knows everybody, everybody's nice to each other, nobody steals. So living in the city, it's just like it's all hitting me at once, and I'm just trying to digest it all, so yeah, I'm not asking for any big support really or anything, but it's just yeah, it's been kind of a shitty weekend. That's for sure, man. But anyways, I won't litter the whole video with my personal upbringing, because that's not what I'm about, on the personal tip. But I'm here to share some cool ass music, so I'll probably mention that again at the end. But I am working on getting it fixed, as far as like anti-theft, tracking devices, maybe locking my steering wheel, you know, getting all these different devices to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I've even talked to my apartment complex about installing cameras, because we don't have cameras here. I think the neighbor has a camera, but it's at a different angle, so we never did capture any footage. But just all I ask is, keep me in your thoughts. It's about all I can ask for, really. But anyways, we're going to be starting off with this one. So I picked this one up on eBay recently. I had seen this listing for a while, and I thought, it was kind of in poor shape. The label was ripped off the sleeve, and I kind of cheated a little bit and kind of patched the sleeve up, best I could to kind of show its art off properly. So I made stickers of the label and printed it on here. But as you guys may have noticed, I posted the video about this. This is Up the Junction. Manfred Mann Goes Up the Junction. I made a sticker of the Fontana label. It's got a little tear up there. A little hard to see, but yeah, just kind of wanted to, create the original artwork the best I could. And the spine's kind of missing too, so I taped it up a little bit with some thin tape, clear tape anyway. And so yeah, it's a British soundtrack from back in 1968. I do love the film also. Soundtrack's obviously a little better, but it's got kind of a cool theme with, this woman decides to go live out in Battersea Station area, where it's kind of poverty driven. Totally different. It's kind of more of like a social commentary on, class wars and, the ups and downs of society during that time period. But it's definitely a period piece with the counterculture kind of moving into focus as well. But love this soundtrack, man. This has got some of the best pop driven, sort of 60s psychedelic tracks of its time. It's not really psych driven per se, but it's definitely got that kind of late 60s flavor moving in. The first three tracks, the title track, Up the Junction, Sing Songs of Love, Walking Round, just brilliant stretch of tracks there. And my favorite, Just For Me, which I played on my video a few videos back now. Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on a original UK pressing. This is a stereo copy. I just love the sleeve design. I just much prefer it than the US one on Mercury. But also the fact I just love the Fontana label too, and thankfully the vinyl is VG+. It's a very clean copy. Love the old Fontana label. Again, it's just kind of a stark label, but it sticks out, It's very memorable. Just a little dusty, but yeah, I picked this up from some shop in Alabama, of all places, and made an offer and got this for about 25 bucks. So yeah, you don't see these UK copies popping up very often. Even on Discogs, they seem to be kind of getting a little scarce, not popping up nearly as much as they were. But very happy to track this down. I think there have been copies also in New Zealand and I think Holland, Netherlands area, pressed some copies up. So very cool record. If you haven't watched this film or listened to the music, it's very strong in my opinion. I think it's Manfred Mann at their best. And I was talking to somebody in the comment section. I forget your name. You always comment on my videos. How they released a single. There's a track on the film that's kind of like a pop version called I Need Your Love. Wasn't featured on this LP, but whoever the Jigsaw Band is released a single on Dot and the Polydor label, so I might have to pick that up as well. It's very cool, very catchy, romanticized kind of pop psych ballad, really good. And then sticking with the British sounds here, kind of sticking with the British theme in this video. These next two I picked up in the shop, well, and the last one too, but this is one I've always passed over, but the price was right, and I was like, okay, we'll finally pick it up for 10 bucks. And I don't know why I always passed on this. Sometimes I figure, well, if it's a cheap record, maybe it's just not nearly as fleshed out psychedelia as I would imagine it would be, but this is really strong overall. I listened to it at work a couple weeks back, and I was like, yes, this is pretty nice. This is the Alan Bound, and I had listened to this before. I've streamed it in the past, but it just never latched on like it did recently. So I think they're based out of London, right? Kind of started as like a rhythm and blues sort of band, and this is kind of them dipping into those psychedelic water trappings. And then I think later after this one, they kind of move in a prog direction. It's a DJ mono copy. I've listened to this in stereo. I probably do prefer the stereo mix. There's some great effects moving throughout these tracks, and these are some strong tracks, man. Got Toyland, which is kind of definitely a Toy Town pop site kind of vibe. Magic Handkerchief. They do a version of All Along the Watchtower, which I guess prompted Hendrix to do the version that he did. Very strong, kind of brass-oriented sort of pop psych with a hard edge to it. It's really good. Sally Green, Storybook might be my favorite off here. It's got kind of some prog leanings, cool vocal effects, and really cool intro to that song. Technicolor Dream, My Girl, The Month of May. Several tracks on here are just dynamite, man. This is really strong. It's on the Music Factory label, which was like a subsidiary of MGM, Verve, sort of on those labels. But yeah, this is cheap all day long, man. $10 on average. If you spot this is definitely a good grab. It's primarily, pop based, but like I said, there's definitely some hard edge tracks and some tracks that have brass in it, but they don't distract, man. It's really, really strong pop tracks, sort of like, Nirvana, the UK Nirvana, which I think there is a connection. I think they may have covered a Nirvana song, if I remember correctly, so they definitely have some history to them, and thankfully this US press is on the cheap spectrum, so highly recommend it. Check out the track Storybook to kind of sink you in. Okay, and then this last one here I picked up the same day. I was kind of leery about picking this one up. I've been hunting this one for a long time, but it's always like the condition I've always had issues with. But it was just on the sleeve aspect, but it seems like with ABC records, they're always suffering with, some sleeve damage, and this is definitely, as you can tell, the sheep has seen better days. But this is Wool on ABC. One and done sort of effort here. Sleeves kind of splitting on the bottom as well. Got a little bit of water damage. I, again, kind of taped it up best I could. But I got a good deal on this, considering condition with the bundle here. So these guys were based definitely out of the New York State area. Some sources say Syracuse, sort of in Ithaca, Watertown area. It's a brother and sister duo, but then they have some hired musicians on here backing them up from the East Coast area, and I do believe they recorded this in NYC. Promo copy, as you can tell, but it's a stock label. And I don't know, some reviews on this are very diverse. Some people really like it. Some people have a really hard time getting into this one, but for me, I'd say I liked it initially, but I think the flavor has kind of grown stronger on this one for me. It's very psych soul, kind of funk rock based, and just kind of naturally picking up on that hippie bandwagon. It's not full-fledged psychedelia like top tier stuff, but it's certainly interesting and got some great rhythm sections going on. Great versions of some tracks. They do a version of combination of the two. Super live energy, very energetic sound quality to it. The first track, Love, 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 is the single off of here. It's a great opener track, kind of got that kind of Foxy Lady kind of rhythm section to it. Great guitar work, very aesthetic leads. The third track might be my favorite, and it's kind of like one of the more softer, mellower tracks, and it is If They Left Us Alone Now. Kind of got a Serpent Power kind of vibe to it. very folky. It's got, hand drumming going on, kind of a tribal thing. Really solid. I'd say the midsection's kind of where it lacks a little bit, but overall this is really listenable, and I think this runs about 40 minutes, so pretty good time length as well. Then they conclude with a 10-minute version of Funky Walk, which I think a lot of people covered. It's like a early 60s sort of rhythm and blues tune, but they extend it and they go into these all sorts of rhythmic sections and a lot of stereo separation work with the channel effects going on. So this is definitely one to pick up on if you see it for, $20 or so. Been trying to pick this up for 15, 20, and I got it for that considering condition. So as long as it plays, it stays. So that's kind of my motto as far as that goes. And then the big one. I can't even comprehend I have this one either as well. I forgot to pick my reissue of this because I've had the reissue since like 2015, 2016, quite a while now, and of course this is one of those renowned UK psych records of all time. And when my shop owner asked me, well, do you need this one? I was like, yes, if possible. I have to definitely pony up some trade and make some sales for this, and thankfully I did. I definitely didn't pay the prices it's asking for, and I'll go into the nitty gritty of this, but bam! July, baby! So I tried to get some good lighting this morning so you can kind of see the edge wear and stuff like that. It's got a little bit of a split working up on top, but otherwise, you don't see this every day in Nebraska, man. And this is the radio station copy. I'm assuming it's from Lincoln Station. This is the copy that they played back in the day. Got the radio lettering up there, and then on the track, the clown, they mark it out and it says "Forget It." There it is. Apparently they didn't like that opening track, which is like probably the best track on here. Instead of My Clown, it's called The Clown, which is interesting. But yeah, this is a stereo US press, and yes, I do know about the fake stereo. I still don't care. This is still an artifact from the time. And the fact this is the radio station copy here in Nebraska, it's a no-brainer for me, so definitely had to scoop this up. And yeah, the sound, the fake stereo is very prominent in this one, where it has like all the tremble on one side, sort of all the muddy bass signals on the other side. But good thing I have a stereo or surround sound function on my stereo, so it doesn't sound nearly as bad, where it's kind of all crossing in the mix. Good shot of the label there. This has a date on it as well. I think it's October 14th, 68. And the record's in even better shape. I mean, I think Dandelion Seeds had like a couple subtle ticks, but otherwise, this is a fantastic copy. And what else can be said about this one? I'm sure you guys know this one real well, Later formed into Jade Warrior, and of course the major minor pressings are out of this world expensive. So thankfully didn't pay too much out of pocket for this. I did make a sale, luckily, this week, and picked this one up. I think it was on Wednesday I picked this up, so can't believe I finally have it, man. This is just such a monumental, one-of-a-kind record from the time period. Very much, I'd say it's primarily kind of a psychedelic pop mix, but there's definitely some aesthetic tones moving throughout. Kind of a post-freak beat kind of vibe to it. You can definitely tell they're motivated by that beat sound, but just using all these different stereophonic effects, even though there's really no true master of like the stereo going throughout this. But just imagine if it wasn't mixed in stereo. Yeah, some great Leslie speaker effects. Again, unique production sounds as well, moving throughout. And I don't think it really trails off at side 2. I think it kind of gets better as it goes on too. Concluding with side 1 on the way. I'd say if if I had like a weak track, I'd say To Be Free is probably the one I skip over most of the time. But as far as like, the style of this genre, man, this is just top tier. So really glad I picked up a copy and it's not beat to hell like a few of these records were, because the previous two I shared were also from the radio station, and July just happened to be one of the better ones that sat in some home for like 50 plus years and didn't travel far, as you can tell. So wow, just incredible piece to add to the collection that I didn't know was going to happen. So I had no ambition to hunt down an original copy because I just figured it'll never happen, but here we are. So yeah, guys, both highs and lows this week. And then also on top of that, Wednesday was my first night I actually DJ'd at the bar that I performed guitar at. I actually started, promoting my little DJ set. I don't know how it's going to launch off yet. I mean, the first night was a little rocky. I couldn't set up on stage. I had to set up near the board to perform there. But I think, once I get a crowd going, I've been making posters and posting them in different places. So hopefully it'll get kind of a following. And I also posted on my Facebook, and it sounds like, some old friends, some classmates are going to try to hop on down some Wednesday night. So yeah, it's very exciting on that tip. But as far as like my transportation, good thing I have one now, so I can load up my turntable on Wednesdays and make it down there. So yeah, that's about all I got today, guys. So yeah, hopefully things get better from there. I'm gonna try to find ways to catch these juveniles that are just having a heyday with my vehicle, I guess. So take care, and we shall see you soon.